This is Adamantly Analog, episode 89. This week, we're talking about interaction in board game.
Hello and welcome to Adamantly Analog. I'm your host, Harrison Dunn,
And I'm Corey Murphy.
and you're listening to probably not the only board game podcast to stand in solidarity with Minneapolis and condemn the actions of President Trump and ICE.
Damn. Coming in hot, Harrison.
Just real facts. Hey, I think we've been silent on it a bit too long. And in Inside Up Games, our friends in Canada who make such wonderful games as Earth and one of my anticipated games coming out this year, the Crits and Tricks. They
Mhm.
released a statement recently. Their owner, Connor McGooey, put out a notice saying, hey, we stand in solidarity with Minneapolis. And you know what? I think the games industry could speak up more than they are right now. We are a pretty tight-knit crowd. And then it, we are always welcoming. We want everyone to feel welcome and safe and comfortable at the table playing games together. And there are lots of things going on in this country right now that are against that central message of gaming,
Mhm.
of inclusion. So
Yeah.
let's game together. Minneapolis, we're with you.
Yeah. Right on. This will be a weird juxtaposition to move into the next topic, but
I think anything's going to be weird.
so yeah, we're talking about interaction today. So speaking of inclusion, interaction is one of my favorite parts of board gaming because it kind of highlights the part where you're actually playing with other humans. And yeah, there's a time and place for the heads down solo type games, but today we're going to be talking about the ones that make you well aware of the other people at the table with you. Even if that is in a bit of a confrontational approach to doing so.
Yeah, right. Also, interaction and inclusion both start with the letter I, so
There
it's a
you
two for
go,
one.
another connection. Okay, cool. So this is a perfect segue then in that case. But before we do, we should probably talk about what we've been playing recently
Oh
with other
yeah.
people.
What have you been playing, Corey?
Oh, me? Okay. Well, all right. I'll start. Sure. Yeah. Hey, we tried to record this episode like 3 days ago and had been stopped because of some internet connectivity issues and the fact that it was like way too late at night for us to function. So you're getting a well caffeinated Corey and Harrison this morning. We're recording on Super Bowl Sunday. Oh, excuse me, the big game Sunday. Um, and had we done it on Thursday when we planned, my answer would have been different. But having just played like 8 hours of games yesterday, I got a whole bunch to talk about, and I'm gonna limit myself to just two. Okay,
Okay.
action packed. So we managed to do a lot of different games. We played a lot of short ones, and I wanted to highlight two recent releases. One of them, Daydream, is a 2025 roll and write from what is this publisher? Disto Studio. Disto, Disto, Disto? I don't know. Disto. Okay.
Yeah, I've not heard of this one.
Yeah. And this is kind of like a small box little game. A very simple roll and write that doesn't look simple at first glance because you have these like trifold boards that are, you use a dry erase marker on them and they fold up kind of like a brochure. So you could fold like and look at 3 panels at a time. You could look at 2 panels at a time. You could flip the board over and look at the other 3 panels, etc., etc. But any combination of 1, 2, or 3 panels is your game mat, and you decide as a group what you're going to play. Obviously, that would affect the length of your game, but I mean the game plays under 30 minutes, even with the longest experience too. The idea is that you're rolling 2 dice and you are writing the numbers of each value onto this Sudoku like, I don't know, it's almost like a crossword puzzle grid in the middle of the board. And you're incentivized to do them in descending or ascending order. But then you're also incentivized, depending on the different modules that are incorporated, which is determined by how you fold the board, to place high values or low values or matching values in certain boxes too. So a lot of cool things to think about. It's really easy breezy, yet it provides quite a bit of kind of puzzle like thinking, which I think is really fun.
And this artwork is just gorgeous. I'm loving this.
I was gonna say this looks like it might be right up your alley, Harrison. It's almost like an anime style artwork, and it's got this sort of like red tint to it as if it's, everything is just kind of like soaked in like some morning sun or some setting sun or whatever. But yeah, really, really kind of cool, really laid back, and the artwork portrays that too.
Yeah, this artist is Mimi Candia, who doesn't look like she's done board games before, but is a 2D animator and illustrator.
Hmm.
Yeah, this looks gorgeous.
Yeah, fun game, and I will be happy to report that the markers work well too, which is usually a pet peeve of mine with these types of games. And then the other one I played, the other one I played was called Soda Jerk, which is Christie's game that was one of the recent all play like small box games. You can literally fit it in your pocket. It's one of the tiniest boxes I've ever seen. Um, Even smaller than sea salt and paper, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
But that's because it's like, I don't know, it's a small deck of cards. They're all just numbers and colors, Harrison, just like you like it.
Oh, yep.
And each of those cards are suited for either banana, orange, blueberry, strawberry, kiwi, all representing different ingredients for a soda. And it's a very simple concept. You're holding a hand of cards. At the end of the game, whatever's left in your hand is what's going to score. And the way that those types of cards score is based on the values played to each pile representing each card. So the reason that that's a question is because you play cards either face down, or you take an action on your turn to flip one of the face down cards face up. So if I play like a three of bananas to the banana pile face down, I know that banana cards are going to be worth 3 points at the end of the game. But say Harrison swoops in, he plays a two of strawberries to the banana pile face down. All of a sudden, that's a negative value, and then banana cards are worth a point at the end of the game. The
Mm.
way that we played, the winning score was like 2, and most of us had like
Wow.
-7 because I guess we were just throwing cards every which way. But it was kind of fun and sort of like, you can only know so much information, so you're just kind of guessing at, if there's a big giant stack of face down cards, we figured, yeah, those are probably negatives. We gotta shed those as fast as we can. But yeah, cool game. Neat idea. And then there's actually like a little bit of a harder mode to it where you flip over the cards representing the different suits, and they have abilities tied to each one. For example, with the banana cards, after each player's first turn, all new cards here must be played face up. Or oranges, if the final value here is +5 or more, each orange card scores -1 instead. So you can kind of bust on the oranges, for example.
Mhm.
So that's Soda Jerk from All Play. I think you like this one, Harrison. It's short, breezy, easy, numbers
Yeah.
and colors.
The hidden information games tend to make me a little anxious, but yeah, I'd be up to try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. All right, how about you?
Uh, so I've been playing a bunch of stuff too. We had a family gathering for on Lauren's side of the family, and we got a 10-player game of Panda Royale,
Oh,
which
nice.
was
Okay.
great. So that was a
Mhm.
lot of chaos, but not nearly as chaotic as I thought it was going to be. But that was a lot of fun. No, the new games that I've played, I tried a new one from Deep Print Games and Pegasus Spiele.
Mm,
It's actually an implementation of a game from a couple years ago, but it's called Dice Pool Party, and this is a just a box of dice and a notepad. It's kind of like a roll and write technically, but in a sense, yeah, it's strange. So the box is the dice tray. Um, One player is going to put the dice in the box, put the lid on it, shake it up, and then take the lid off, count to 3, and put the lid back on. And in that time, every player has to just kinda glance at what those dice are, and then once it's covered back up again, everyone's going to pick a category on their score sheet that they want to score, and then once everyone's picked something, you reveal it and you actually score. So it's gonna be like, score the value of the white dice, score the value of the pink dice, score all sixes, score a run, or something like that. So it's kinda like a twist on Yahtzee, except there's this timing and memory element to it where everyone's kinda just gotta look at it really quickly and then figure out what they wanna do.
yeah, nice.
And you end up marking every category once. So it plays pretty quickly. I thought it was a neat twist to have this little, like, timing element or memory element on it. Um, yeah, I wanna play it again. So
Hmm.
that was a
Looks
cool thing.
looks like there's something like 12 dice in the box. Is that right? Maybe 11?
Yeah, yeah, and they're different sizes for
Oh, are they?
whatever reason. Yeah, yeah. So just it's a little bit of extra visual noise that really makes it just a little more challenging to look at sometimes, for better or for worse.
Do you think that's like a memory aid for them to be different sizes? Because then
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they are noticeably different. It's kind of odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, that was a fun one. The other one that I tried is, a new game from, imported from Devere, published by Devere, but originally, from, Pero Loco Games. This
Mhm.
is Phoenix New Horizon. It's a,
Mm.
like, big, chunky Euro post-apocalyptic thing. The theme was really unclear and not really important, uh, ultimately, but it's like this wasteland thing, and you're setting up energy reactors so that you can build, uh, build new settlements and things. But the board plays out in this worker placement sort of track, where there's like 3 or 4 different levels of workers, and on your turn you can take an action at your current level, or you can take one of your workers and promote them to take like a higher level action, and then as long as they're at that level of action, they can take that every turn. So you
Mm.
kind of like trying to invest in these guys to make them better. But as you promote them, the range of the types of actions they can do becomes more limited. So if you're just at level 1, you can do pretty much any of the base level actions. If you're at level 2, you can take about half of them. If you're at level 3, you only have a choice of 2 things you can do. And then when you get to level 4, there's only one thing you can do, and then they automatically reset to level 1 when you do that. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's this like really neat push and pull and leveling up system. Um, when they level up, they also get to do another action right away. So like it's this building arc until you get to do that really
Okay.
powerful max level action, and then they immediately reset, and you get an extra turn that round. Which is just it was a neat like little twist on it. So it all plays around this sort of like area control set collection thing on a main board, which I could take or leave. That wasn't like a super
Yeah.
engaging part of it. But the worker placement actions and this like little engine building game you've got on your own personal board was really satisfying. So it was a cool game. I liked it.
Do the different meeples represent the different levels? Because there's like these little kid meeples, and then there's
Yeah,
some tall
yeah.
ones with a giant wrench. They're kind of cute.
So there's 3 different sizes of meeples. The 2 larger sizes, you have 2 of the medium and 1 of the large.
Uh,
The 2 mediums are your normal workers. The large one is like your super worker,
mhm.
and his only benefit is that he can take an action the same turn that you promote him. Otherwise, you have to like pay more to take an action the same turn that you promote.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and then the little ones are like these sub workers that get unlocked and just put on like either these separate tracks or on scoring conditions. So they're used just more of like uh you just place them on the board to claim something. So
Gotcha.
they're not used as the same. But yeah, the little kid ones.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
try this. This looks fun.
Yeah. It was
S-
neat. The the name Phoenix New Horizon, or it looks like the German name is Das Phoenix Project. Uh, kind of unremarkable. Yeah, the theme, like the artwork is cool. It looks neat, and the whole aesthetic is kind of this retro futurism thing. Like everything is kind of like represented by floppy disks and
Mhm.
big chunky pieces. Um, but the overall story was like, I don't know what's going on here. This could have been any theme. I guess it's
Yeah.
not, trading in the Mediterranean, so that's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the name seems so familiar to me that I thought this was like a previously released game that's been out for a long time. But because like how many New Horizon games are there already? It's like surprising. But yeah, now that I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, this reminds me a little bit of what's the one that you like, the big Euro um,
Revive?
Revive? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and the player boards are like these machines with
yeah,
wires going every which way, and yeah, cool.
yeah. It
Yeah,
does
I
share
mean,
a little bit
looks
of
fun.
a DNA with that in presentation and theme. Yeah,
Hmm.
and a forgettable or unremarkable name too.
How long does it take to play?
We did a 3-player game in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Uh, Actually, I should check my stats because I have it right in front of me. Uh, Gotta go through all the games of Jungo that we played that same night.
I've never played this
Yeah,
Jungo yet, but I'm hearing that you guys like that one.
I got a copy now. Production is The cards, great quality. The
Mhm.
box came with stickers and was literally peeling apart when I opened it. So,
Oh,
like,
no.
I brand new game, I've already got 2 parts of it that are, like, ripped off. Just like, "Okay,
Really?
well, yeah, whatever." It was 15 bucks. The game's great. So, yeah, our Phoenix New Horizon game was an hour and 34 minutes. So,
That's pretty good. Would you say this is
yeah.
a fast playing crowd that you play with?
Yeah, we're generally pretty quick.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Well, that would
So
be
for
a
your
good 3
crowd,
hours
3
for
hours.
us. Yeah.
Cool. Well, should we talk about, interaction?
Yeah, let's.
All right, today's topic is interaction, interactive mechanics in board games. And this could mean anything we want it to, really. But uh, let's talk about the way that games let us interact with people. I think board game interaction can be kind of a buzzword sometimes, right? There's certain games that's like, oh, it's too interactive, or there's not enough interaction. We've got those uh, multiplayer solitaire games. That's another kind of buzzword that goes alongside this. And
Mhm.
I think the best definition of interaction in a game I've heard of is uh, your actions are something that I care about. It's not like, "Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
you munchkin, you just played a level down card on me," or something like that. That's more of a take that instead of an interaction. But if you do a thing and I care about how you do that or where you put your character or your worker placement, that's more interesting interaction, right? Because now I'm invested in what you do. And good player interaction can even make a multiplayer game make the turns feel really quick because you're invested in what everyone's doing.
Yeah, and like personally, I try to take this in the direction of looking at it from more of like a Euro perspective rather than the obvious like dudes on a map
Yeah.
confrontational perspective. I wanted to include Root on here because that's kind of like the king of interaction. But that it's just that's too obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna look at less obvious uses of that, and I'm pretty excited about these three choices I got here. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I this is something we could have talked about a long time ago, and I feel like we should have, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Episode
Maybe
89 talking about interaction.
yeah, I'm sure we have in a roundabout way, but now it's direct. So here it goes.
All right. So our first player rule is another I word. It's who got the highest initiative. So
That was my best attempt to be thematic, although that usually implies, like, RPG stuff, yeah, so I don't know, Harrison, you got quite a bit of initiative. I mean, you are designing games and playtesting games on the regular. You've got some great ideas that you see through to their finish, so I credit you with pretty high initiative value.
and see, I just rolled the d20 and I got an 11. So
Oh, okay, so we'll
uh
do it that way. Let me see. Let me go hang on. Roll D20. Will Google do that if I type it? Let's
I
see.
don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, it totally will. 19, baby.
Okay, well, I've got a plus 20 to initiative, so
Oh, okay, alright, you go first then.
completely arbitrary. That's podcasting, baby.
Yeah, we can do what we want.
Okay. So the first game that I wanted to talk about in player interaction is one of the games I that first made me think of player interaction, like in not just the dudes on a map or a take that way. And this is Castles of Mad King Ludwig from 2014, designer Ted Alspach and Bezier Games. This is one that we've talked about many times before, but I like to highlight the interaction in this one because a lot of the game is just you building your own little castle in front of you, and once you have the pieces, there's not much that you're really doing to interact. But the act of how those prices are set in the first place, I think, is such a wonderful way for the players at the table to interact. One player is the master builder, the master architect, and they set the prices for all of the rooms for the round. But that decision itself is layered in many different ways because the player who sets the prices is also the person who gets to buy last. So you want to try to price the thing that you want the most out of those, somewhere where it's not so cheap that someone's just going to buy it, but not so expensive that you're going to bankrupt yourself when it comes around to your turn. And then you're also thinking about what other players might want because anything that the other players buy, the money goes directly to you, and then you pay the bank. So there's multiple layers of how to go about pricing these things, and you really care about, how you price them for other players, and you're really invested in how other players price things when it's their turn to be the master builder. Um, so I really like that level of interaction, and that it's just one aspect. There's still this whole other puzzle that you get to focus on and play in. So it kind of straddles that line of Euros of like, yes, we have this key moment of interaction, but we're also kind of doing our own thing, right?
Mhm.
Um,
That's a great choice.
yeah, I like the Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and I mean it's a classic at this point for us.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd say great choice, but also great explanation because you're right that the game without that element is pretty heads down. You're building your own thing. It's cool. Very many games would take this in a direction where you literally don't care about what your opponent is doing, but this
Mhm.
one forces you to care because you that setting the price mechanic is so central to the game. And that's where you can either like make or break your strategy. So you really have to look over and examine what everyone's building and what they would benefit from, and that packs a lot of weight. I think that's a really tough decision.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's why I often recommend like some of the other variations on this game. Like, in fact, we played the blueprints of Mad King Ludwig last night, and it doesn't have that element to it. So if that feels like too lofty of a thing for your group to handle, then I'd check those out, and you still get the fun like castle building synergies and comboing and stuff, but without that depth. That's what makes this one a mid to heavyweight game. I don't know if heavy's right, but midweight.
It could be a tough decision for first time players. But when I teach this to new players, that is often the moment they take the longest with. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
So,
should.
so that's my number one pick, Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
I love that game. I
It's
don't have
good.
it anymore, but yeah, I really like that one. Okay, my first pick is a game that I don't know if I could possibly describe on this podcast, but I'm going to try my hardest. Let me just say, you have to try this to understand it. The game is called Four Humors. It's a 2022 game from Adam's Apple Games. That's the group that brought Planet Unknown. I think they're most well known for that. Designer Charlie McCaron, who is a Wisconsin, Minneapolis designer, maybe Minneapolis, I don't know, professor at University of Wisconsin Stout, which has a game design degree or something. He's a game design professor there. I think it's really cool. Do you know much about that, Harrison?
Yeah, I know Charlie. So he
Okay.
does currently reside in Minneapolis. He's no longer a professor. He is currently a product manager at Asmodee. So he
Oh,
he
okay.
helps
All right.
work with Asmodee and
Okay.
Office Dog. He manages them. So the people that put out the Lord of the Rings trick taking game.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a game designer and he's also a fellow podcaster.
Oh,
Uh,
is he? Okay.
him and two other designers, Trevor Mullerhagel and Ananda Gunratna, have a board game design podcast called The Tabletop Takeaway that I've been a big fan of for a while. So yeah, I was thrilled that you picked this because I like Charlie. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Have you played his game, For Humors?
I've not played Four Humors.
Okay.
I've
All
played
right.
some of his other games, but I've not played Four Humors.
Yeah. Well, just going back to the UW Stout thing, I think that's kind of where the Paverson Games guys are too, aren't they? Up there somewhere, or
Yeah. Dave Beck is too.
yeah, cool. So there's kind of like this pocket of game design hive mind up there, which is which is pretty cool. Okay, anyways, getting back to my point here, I'm talking about four humors and interaction. The game is a very odd theme, and it's talking about the four humors. Or I'll read this right off the page because I don't think I could describe it very well. In Four Humors, you're a doctor in medieval times, and everyone knows that your personality is determined by an imbalance of bodily fluids, aka the Four Humors. So, choleric is the yellow bile, influences goal oriented, decisive, and ambitious personalities. Sanguine, the red blood, is talkative, enthusiastic, and social. Melancholic, the black bile, analytical, detail oriented, reserved. And phlegmatic, the white phlegm, relaxed, peaceful, and easygoing. Which one are you, Harrison?
Yuck.
Yeah,
I am yuck.
yeah. What is that? I would say you're I'd say you're the white phlegm, Harrison. The phlegmatic personality. Does that sound about right? Relaxed, peaceful, and easygoing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
The game is a giant map, a modular map with different locations in it. Each of those locations is represented by this oversized card that will be drawn from a deck and placed face up into a basically a selection of four that you can play on. And each of these cards has four characters on it in a scene. And that scene is tied to, once again, one of the cities or the towns on the map that you've built. Okay. Each of the characters has an option of two different suits, basically, which are those four humors. So like there's a picture of a knight with a red or a white disc printed on its belly. And oftentimes there's like three, four, five, and six characters in each scene. Okay. With me so far?
Yep.
All right. So players have their own bag. They're going to be drawing chits out of a bag, kind of like Orleans style. They're little cardboard chits, and each of those chits have those colors on them. And so you're keeping that secret information to yourself. No one else can see it. But then when your turn comes around, you're going to play one of them face down onto the belly of one of those characters that matches up with its two possibilities. Okay. Once the cards are filled, and there's a certain threshold that's going to trigger like some scoring, you're going to reveal all of the chits and score them according to this kind of bizarre chart that the game uses to identify who the winner is. And so I'm going to just go through that really quick. I got to pull it up. Um, so if there is one singular yellow chit present, the cleric, that chit will be the winner. And they're color coded, so you know which player they belong to. If there are not, and there are two or more sanguines, the red chits, then anyone that played a sanguine is the winner. If not, if there are exactly two melancholics, that person is the winner. If there's a single melancholic, you get kind of like a bonus win, like in an adjacent territory. And then if none of those things are true, then all phlegmatics, all the grays, are the winner. So I know that you couldn't possibly follow that. There's a handy player aid that helps you out if when you're doing this in person. But it's really tense. And once again, we're down to this like secret information, kind of like soda jerk earlier. Um, but there's like a lot of deduction that you can do just based on the possible combinations, what people could have played and what they need to achieve and what locations they're looking for. And it's really darn cool. There's certain moments where if someone goes and plays in a location, that changes your plan for the turn, and you have to kind of like flex because it's like, okay, not only do I want to play there, but also that means that they could have done X, Y, and Z. And I'm only prepared for like this situation. Really interesting game, and I think that's the best I can do to describe it. But I would just encourage you, if any of that sounds remotely interesting, give it a shot because it is very unique.
Yeah, the theme alone is like, hey, we need more unique themes. People
Hmm.
complain about too many beige Euros or post-apocalyptic Euros or dudes on a map fighty games. Like, yeah, this is a cool unique theme.
Yeah, it does have like a little bit of a area control feel to it, but it's really not. I mean, the locations in the map really pertain to like end of game scoring triggers, or not end of game, but like scoring goals for everybody. And so like you might be trying to place chits in like cities that border the edge of the map, for example. You hit like four of those or something. Yeah, I liked it a lot. We actually got it. We won it in a play to win over the winter here, and we got it to the table recently, and it's kind of fit the bill pretty perfectly. So here we are. We're talking
Nice.
about interaction. Four humors.
My number two pick. This is kind of yeah, I would say this is an extreme example. This game is all player interaction, but it's not again a take thatty fighty game stuff going on the map. There's stuff going on the map, but it's not what we've talked about before, and that is 2004's Power Grid by designer Friedmann Friese and published by Rio Grande Games. If you've played Power Grid before, you were like, "Oh, yep, yep, absolutely. This is 100% player interaction. You care about everything that every player is doing." So in Power Grid, you are trying to be the first player to uh, not only build in a certain number of cities based on player count, but also power that number of cities or that number of locations. And every phase of the game, you care about what other people are doing, whether it's you're bidding, you care about what other players choose to bid on, how much they pay for it, how much you can afford to pay on it. uh, and then that goes to buying new resources, because there's a limited resource pool, so the first player that gets to purchase resources to power their power plants is usually going to get the better price on that. You care about the types of fuel that different players are needing for their to power their power plants, and then the whole map itself it kind of unlocks throughout the course of the game. But at the beginning, only one player can be at each location, and kind of jockeying for position when income is really tight. Your money is pretty locked down. Is also just a crazy interactive experience. So there's plenty of different places to try to go head to head with people and uh, see who's better at managing their resources because you're really paying attention to everything that's going on out there. I can't think of an element of Power Grid that isn't, not isn't influenced by someone else's decision.
Yeah, that's a great one. And the limited resources is key here because there's like a sequencing to everything where you have to plan like 3 or 4 steps ahead and kind of guess as to what the other players are doing. Because if they get in there and buy the resource that you want, then the price is getting like cranked up on that thing, and all of the plans you laid out for the rest of the turn are like, you're not gonna have enough money to complete all of them.
Yep.
So there's a lot of paying attention to your opponent, but also kind of like hypothesizing what they might do. And it's yeah, it's all about interaction here.
I recently got a chance to play. I think it was a four-player game of this at our game night. We just busted it out. We're like, yeah, let's do this. It's been a while since we've played this one. Recently had a chance to play this at our game night, and it still is sings. I'm not a big fan of like the auction bidding style games, but
Mm,
this one it feels like an exception. I just feel much more comfortable in this system, and it's pretty straightforward to plan out what you need to do, and then to figure out what points that could break down, or come up with an alternate plan if it does break down. Uh,
mm.
so I like that about it too. So that is my second pick, Power Grid from Rio Grande in 2004. Oldie but a goodie.
Holy but a goodie. I have to say that game stresses me out because of that interaction, but I can recognize that it's a great game and it's for the math people out there, which I am not.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little mathy.
Mhm. Okay, so we've got a bunch of different types of interaction represented on this list. And I think that one that we need to speak of is the I lead, you follow kind of interaction, or the lead and follow interaction, I should say. I considered things like uh, Glory to Rome on this list, but what better choice than the 2024, 2025 release, 25 from Thunderworks, Citizens of the Spark? I mean, come on, people.
We do
uh,
we do have a little bit of an expert on the podcast here.
Yeah, we do. So I'm going to do my best to describe it, but help me out if I flounder here. And we've talked about it plenty, so I won't go into too much depth. But the idea here is that we are a modular setup selected from 30 different stacks of different citizen cards, and players are on their turn drafting a row of 3 citizens, playing them to their city, making stacks of like citizens, like all of the same type, and then optionally activating one of those stacks by discarding a card from it. When you do that, not only is there a bunch of interaction baked into the abilities on those cards, either exchanging citizens from your city to another player's, or gaining coin or gaining points based on the number of tags in all adjacent cities. But there's interaction in the sense that when I play a type of citizen, if my opponent also has that citizen, they can activate to follow that action, which effectively gives them kind of like a free action on my turn. So I think that does a really good job of, kind of let's see, it kind of like balances out the weight of those decisions, because there might be a really good play that you can do, but it becomes a little less good when your opponents gain a bunch of benefit from it too, right?
Oh yeah.
How'd I do, Harrison?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, every time that you question whether or not you can describe it, you describe it very well.
Well, thank you very much. And I have to say, there's a bunch of different recommended setups in the back of the book. The first game setup is a little less interactive because I think that tends to be tricky for newer players. But when you get into it, there are some that are defined as interactive. I think that's what one of them is called, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
high interaction.
yeah, and what are some of the highlights of that one? Because that one does have a lot of things like being traded across the table, and kind of like attack cards happening too.
Yeah, yeah, that one in particular is more about the presence of the high of the attack cards. The base game, uh the recommended first player setup, I tried to keep those attack cards to a minimum so that you can see, oh, there are cards that have this element to them. Um, but I think that the interaction comes more from the ability to follow and things like that. And
Yeah.
in the high interactive set, you care a lot more generally about your ability to follow someone because of those cards. Those cards can be a lot more high impact
Yeah.
if you're able to activate them more often.
Yeah. Well, super fun. I'm just getting into the Board Game Geek page here where I see the old Rome version of this game. um,
Oh yeah,
there's photos of that online. But the theme that they settled on was this very cool solar punk, like brightly colored, very fantasy art of anthropomorphic animals, which is awesome. And everyone always is drawn to this one. Hey, what's that? Whenever I have it set up at a convention, people are stopping by like crazy. Oh, I didn't know this game existed. This is cool. Let's try it. So it kind of sells itself, but the gameplay backs it up too. I think there's a lot of really cool and fun interactive elements happening in a game that is short and sweet and fast moving and always keeps players engaged because they're always looking for those follow actions or planning their next move. So I like that a lot.
good pick, Corey. I'm always a fan of that one. I just don't. I feel weird picking it myself sometimes.
Yeah, Harrison is a little biased because he was the developer on this game.
Yeah.
If I don't think we mentioned that, but that's why he's
No, yeah, I
catching
was
my.
the developer on that one, and I work for Thunderworks Games, the publisher. So, yeah, little bit of bias there. Try not to pick too many Thunderworks games because otherwise it just turns into the Thunderworks podcast, which I'm
Yeah,
sure some people would like, but you know, want to try to give all games some love.
that's right. That's what it's about. All right. So that was my second pick. Citizens of the Spark, designer Philip DuBarry, publisher Thunderworks Games, 2025.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's head on to those final picks. And for my third and final pick, I wanted to highlight different kinds of interaction and specifically like positive player interaction. So there's the idea of player interaction that like, oh, you're going to take something away from me or you're going to do something bad to me. But there's the opposite as well. There's you care about what other players are going to do because you can benefit from it, and that's more of like a positive player interaction. Citizens of the Spark has that element of it too. But what better to highlight positive player interaction than a co-op game? And I think co-op games kind of get, you know, uh, swept under the rug when it comes to conversations of interaction because it's not the same, right? You often are collaborating, and the point is to interact and work with each other. Um, but I would say an excellent game that really highlights your ability to cooperate and communicate with your team is none other than our favorite Spirit Island from 2017, published by Greater Than Games and designed by Eric Reyes. And I mean, Corey, you're a huge fan of this one. You've got a lot of it, most of it. You've probably got a lot more plays than I do too. But
Mhm.
uh, this is this is an excellent example. You can't win this game without communicating with your team. Um, you know, setting up each other for success and ultimately interacting.
Yeah, and it's an incredibly challenging level of interaction too because of all the layers of planning and prediction and thinking ahead that you have to do um, as a team. Most players don't play a spirit that can single-handedly deal with all the problems, but rely on other types of spirits. Whereas they're described as offensive or defensive or I forgot what the other option is, but like fear based basically. But oftentimes the best thing you can do is just move the problem elsewhere, and that just makes it worse because you're constantly getting bombarded by colonists in this game. And so if you're moving the problem elsewhere, then you've got a really big problem ahead of you. But I might be able to move the problem into the zone of influence that another player has, and that player can then use like a big attack card to take out an entire region, or vice versa. So that's kind of the best part of the game. It really does force players to plan and team up, and it feels like the different interactions between the spirits is always fun to discover in that way. So that's why I have so many expansions for this game.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities to collaborate, and yeah, it is kind of about kicking those threats down the road until somebody gets strong enough to be able to deal with them efficiently.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because you're constantly making your spirit stronger and stronger as you go. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. There's a moment in every game where you're like, "There's no way we can win this," and then like 3 turns later, you're like, "Oh man, we got this."
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I need to play that one more often. Oh, you know what we
Yeah.
should have done? We should have picked a uh, a game with high interaction, but it's a solo game.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Yeah. So that's my third and final pick, Spirit Island.
All right. My third and final pick. And I'm not really sure what category this represents, but maybe just like heavy Euros that have high interaction. Heavy Euros tend to be the types of games where players play 10 to 15-minute turns and everyone checks out until their turn rolls around. And there's, just like insular planning is going on in everyone's corner of the table. But in the case of something like Maracaibo or even Great Western Trail, I think that there's a lot of attention that needs to be paid to what other players are doing. In Maracaibo in particular, and that's my pick, I should say. This is from Capstone Games, Alex Pfister design. Maracaibo is a rondel game that is played over a series of rounds, and the rounds end when players reach the end of the circuit. So you can go 1 to 7 moves on your turn, 1 to 7 spaces on your turn. So you have the ability to really, really push the tempo if you so choose to do so. Wait, that's redundant. If you so choose. um, and players that are like limping along the track for value are going to be left in the dust and miss out on the opportunity to gain some of the high bonuses at the end of the track. So I often see this when I'm playing online with other players. They race to the end and I'm like, holy crap, I'm not even halfway through the track yet. I need to get to Maracaibo so I can do that battle. That's so valuable. Whereas everyone's like, okay, I'm going to just prioritize. These are the things I need. But that's going to change every game because it really depends on like the type of players you're playing with and what their goals and strategies are. And so the experience is going to differ greatly, and even the length of the game is going to differ greatly based on that. Not to mention, there's a lot of races going on this track. For example, there is well, besides the circuit itself, there's an exploration track on the bottom, and there's a lot of benefits to being the first to cross certain lines. And then the battle mechanic in this one is really odd. I wouldn't say it's a battle between players, but it is a battle where players have the opportunity to assist 3 different countries. Basically, there's a blue, red, and white combat track up top. And it is like it's very unusual. When you do a combat, you flip over a tile and you decide which country you want to support. And when you do that, that allows you to move up those tracks to gain point multipliers at the end of the game, but also to gain basically resources that you can spend on benefits. So there's chances where, like, if you're playing a two-player game, you might be supporting the same faction in some of those fights and still climbing that same track, making the point multiplier higher for both players, which is kind of unusual, right? It's not like confrontational in the sense that most other battles are. I don't think I can go into too much depth on that because it is so complicated to talk about. But anyone that's played Maracaibo will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very unique sense of interaction in that case.
Yeah, I'm not able to relate to that. I've not played this one yet.
That is 2019's Maracaibo.
Those are some interactive games, Corey. So
Yeah.
we have my picks. I have Castles of Mad King Ludwig, Power Grid, and Spirit Island. And Corey picked Four Humors, Citizens of the Spark, and Maracaibo. All right, Corey, that is another episode in the bag. We've done it. We keep doing the podcasting. Good job.
Yay.
Anything you've been doing besides playing all those board games that you want to shout out or share?
Nah, I'm gonna watch the big sports game tonight with some friends, but we'll probably end up just playing board games while we do because we don't have any skin in the game this year.
Like most years.
hmm Sadly. How about you?
Well, I have been getting back into Monster Train 2. So that's Monster Train is the deck building roguelite game where you are kind of doing a tower defense type thing, and you basically pilot a train running through hell filled with demons and battling against angels and whatnot. You've got 3 levels, kind of like basically 3 games of Slay the Spire that you're playing simultaneously, and enemies from the first layer who survive will go to the second layer. So you have that like tower defense element of it. And one of the things that Monster Train and Monster Train do, uh, Monster Train and Monster Train 2 do so well is let you just feel super powerful like you're breaking the game. There's so many opportunities to just kind of ramp up and get crazy near infinite combos with guys with 1,000 attack and you're taking out bosses in one hit. And the DLC, the expansion for Monster Train 2 just came out, which adds a new clan. So the clans are like the characters. You pick two clans to run through. It added a new clan and it added the expansion clan from the first game. So now the total clans in the game is up to 12, I think, which is just a crazy amount of content. And there's a new mode on there with even more modifiers. They have kind of like super enchantment upgrades that you can put on your cards to make them even more crazy busted. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Highly recommend if you want to lose tons and tons of hours in breaking the game over and over and over.
Yeah. Nice. That sounds like overwhelming for a new player. When I open that game up, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot happening here. So
There's a lot,
you gotta
yeah.
get a little deeper into it before you really need that kind of experience. I think the base game is on sale though. It was
Yeah.
at least this past week,
Okay.
probably because of that Monster Train 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that plus we are like a month away from Slay the Spire 2 coming out.
Hmm.
So we gotta keep an eye on that. And I'm just trying to get my deck builder fix in so that as soon as this one, Slay the Spire 2 comes out, then oh boy, uh that's all we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna do a Slay the Spire episode probably.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Nice. Looking forward to that. I'll probably have to take that day off of work. Just kidding.
Yeah, whenever that is.
Yeah.
So cool.
All
All
right.
right. Well, that's the end of another episode. Thank you
Yeah.
all so much for listening. Uh, you know, get out there, support your neighborhood, and stand up for those that might need help, so we can all keep playing those cool games together and be inclusive.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Drink water.
Bye. Adamantly Analog is Corey Murphy and Harrison Dunn. Original themes and bumper music by Corey Murphy. Reach us at adamantlyanalog@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.